It's a pleasure to finally connect with you and kind of talk shop here. Obviously, March and Ash is carrying your product down here in San Diego. And what has the introduction to SD been like for you guys?
We had a pretty good presence there previously, so I feel like Foreign Genetics is like pretty known in the town. We were there in the 215 days at some local shops and with some guys down there. So, I mean, I think they're familiar. Obviously, the rec market is it's a little convoluted with just a bunch of bags and you know, a lot of colorful artwork. And I think it's a shame that they really dropped the ball with the way that it's presented to the customer now, in terms of how it was in 215, where you got to more deli style, really see what you're getting before you get it. You know what I mean? So
it was way more hands-on. You actually got to really experience the product, where now, like you said, they're slinging bags and you don't know what you're getting in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and it's like, you go off the bud pods, and a lot of times maybe they're not swapped out as often as they should be, and it's not a great representation, And even so, breaking it down into an eighth form, it takes away a lot of the moisture and kind of takes away from what it is when it's kept in in a bigger amount. It kind of sticks together and holds its freshness a little bit longer, So
yeah, all the potency, everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that like terps evaporate first, obviously, and
right.
Some things more than others, obviously. So it's tough. It's been finding what our route is, and then kind of going with that.
Yeah, and when did you first? You're mentioning 2015 and whatnot. When did you really first make the transition into the cannabis industry and throw yourself in professionally?
I've been around the business for like 20 years, so for quite a while, from before it was an actual business. And then I've been medical since 2001. So
yeah, those early years then, 20 years ago, what was your involvement and how were you? Because obviously you had and still I'm sure you do creative stuff, but you were more invested in acting, I would imagine, when you first got into the industry. Now?
Yeah, I was still acting at the time, but it was like kind of off and on. I started cultivating in 2001, and then I guess things became more professional in like the 2013, 12, 14 years, when things became a little more on a larger scale in the Los Angeles market. In the early days of Prop 215, there was like a handful of shops in LA, and they were all pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
Pretty sketchy, to say the least.
It was the Wild West. I didn't realize, and pardon my ignorance, that your time in the industry did extend back to that period, because a lot of people who come out, when I don't want to certainly put you under the celebrity brand category, but people who do enter that space and what have you, and utilize their celebrity to help push product, they're not as intimate with the product as you are, and have as much time with the product as it sounds like you've had.
I've always loved it. And then I had an opportunity to run a really big farm to table style retail shop. And we had a lot of lights early on in the Prop 215 days. So I got like a hands-on approach at cultivation directly to patients, you know what I mean? And kind of how to do that at scale, and to, really managing the shop gave me a look that most cultivators don't have, because they're usually removed from the actual end customer. I mean, they probably have a group of friends and people that they confer with about strains and things in that nature. But, I would get it a lot at the shop, like a lot of the growers that would come in, especially, before we were kind of out in the open on Instagram or communicating with each other. And, they really only see their product. So everybody thinks their product is the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I mean?
Always.
Getting them to trust the fact that I had an opinion that was valid because I was seeing everything, and that we cultivated at such a high level. I was able to help a lot of people work with their product and get it a lot better, to be honest. And it was in our best interest, obviously, if somebody was vending to us for our shop. I would want it to be as good as possible, you know, and help people out in that way. But it also gave me like an innate ability to understand the market itself and like the average everyday consumer, the guys that come in and bought a gram or smoke $10 a day, and then the guys that were heavy smokers and everywhere in between. So I could kind of understand that, you know, there's a level for everybody, and then what really works and what doesn't, you know?
Yeah. And it's fascinating hearing you talk and hearing, again, extent as far back as you go, especially being a public personality and having, you know, coming from a way different industry. I mean, that takes balls, man, to put yourself out there so early on. Were you ever worried that your other profession or being that, you know, having that public persona could get you in trouble or interfere? Or
there's always that thought in the back of your mind, I guess. And then obviously I didn't really put, until it became more or less recreational, we never really put a name to anything or really attached my personal brand to a cannabis brand, you know what I mean?
Yep.
People were aware that were around me, but other than that, the public wasn't necessarily aware. They might
you were able to separate it.
Not that I would have been afraid previously. I mean, to be honest, I wish that we had done a little more branding and marketing earlier on, because I feel like we could have been you know, a little more established. And we came to that kind of late for obvious reasons. You know, yeah. Most of the industry was scared. And then you've seen a lot of the brands that really didn't care and really were out there. Like, it was hard to sell prepackaged flour before Prop 64 happened. You know, it was, sure. There was a few brands that were trying to do it, but in most popular shops that were like even some pretty big name brands, it was hard to sell, especially at a premium, you know, compared to something that they could see in a jar. It's not a very appealing, you know, when you have the choice of either or. I'd rather be able to smell a jar and know, yeah, give me an eighth of that, you know what I mean? And I see what's being packaged up fresh. So it was tough, like riding that line. And then obviously, you know, once recreation came and everything changed and it wasn't so easy, you know, grow it, trim it, put it in the bag, you know. Now there's so many different process that go into it. And hey, I think it's a good time too. I'm not knocking it. I feel like, you know, obviously having terp profiles and THC and CBD percentages, like really heavy testing and knowing about heavy metals and molds and things of this nature and PGRs, it's awesome that people can have good, clean medicine and know that, you know, this has been tested and that these companies are held to compliance standards, and that, you know, it's not, you ain't got hair in your stuff.
Dog hair.
Dog hair. Yeah, I've seen it.
Dog
I've seen
hair.
It all. You know what I mean? I mean, it happens, you know?
Same.
Now that
I've bought it all.
Yeah, of course we all have, you know? You know, I always tell people, like, cause they talk about that and I'm like, trust me, you've smoked worse.
Exactly. I say that all the time. It's like, there's no way anybody could be a critic of the current weed market because you've smoked stuff out of someone's ass.
And if you've been smoking for 10, 15, 20 years and even, you know, and some of the older cats, you got whatever the guy had. It wasn't like you got a choice. And
dude, I used to buy weed at
Shoot
Park. We used to go to Shoot Park at like a Friday night, and you would buy a nickel or a dime bag, and we had no idea what we were buying. No idea. And you'd go home and you'd smoke it out of a friggin' aluminum can.
Yeah, or an apple or a metal pipe, or if you're, you know,
or a Bic pen. That was melting, whatever you could find. And that's why anyone who pulls any type of snobbery this day, it's like, you don't even know. You don't even know.
So spoiled.
That being said, though, I will say, you know, it's like I'm not in the industry, but I do listen and I do hear what people say. And I know that people who do know what's up have said really good things about your product and your weed. It's not some boutique, white labeled celebrity brand. It's like, no, this shit is friggin' good. And is that the reaction that I'm sure you're hearing as well? And what do you attribute that to?
Well, you know, we care. A lot of those orders we like hand pack and send off and sticker ourselves. So we're very involved in the process, and you know, it's hard to have it's hard to knock it out the park every time in this business, because, you know, there's outside influence on cultivation, obviously, even indoors where you try to keep everything and as solid as it is, it's, you know, things happen. There's acts of God, so to speak, that, you know, weather changes or
Sure.
power outages or things that happen. But yeah, I mean, the word on the streets is that we got fire, and I pride myself on it. You know what I mean? And I won't put my name on anything that I'm not happy with. And
yeah, of course.
I do pick these things, you know, based off of things that I like to smoke or feel like there are going to be the varieties that are going to be in the market for, you know, the foreseeable future. Obviously things come in trends and go, but like, I'm not picking some hype strain that I feel like isn't going to smoke good, you know, a year from now. Like I want something that will have its balance and stay in the market. And we're definitely going to be hands-on. Like we really run these rooms, and you know, if I'm not directly touching plants, I'm still like feed schedules and everything technical is still being ran by me and my partners with Foreign Genetics. So, I mean, you know, we're doing our best, but
sure.
Yeah, people like it, but we care. You know what I mean? We're there. We're not just own a business and you know, hope it's good and put our name on it and like whatever. If it's not good, it's not getting jarred up. It's not gonna go out and be in a store, because I wouldn't want that to represent us as cultivators and as businessmen in this industry.
Sure.
All you got is your name at this point in this industry, so you got to be very careful about how you represent yourself. It's easy to just slap a label and hopefully it sells and put it in 1 million stores, but I'd rather it be very personal.
Yeah, you're going for the long play, the marathon.
I mean, and hey, we might be gone, you know, before we ever get there, but I definitely want to stand on the fact that we were solid 100%, you know?
Yeah.
And that we didn't put anything out that we felt like just to make a buck, because, you know, it's you know, it's less profitable than people think, and it's a lot of work. So it's really a labor of love.
Yeah, and what are some of your favorite strains or those legacy strains that you see sticking around for a minute?
I guess we're really into like so the Squintz, the rainbow chip that's in the stores with March and Ashes. It's Sunset Sherbet crossed with mint chocolate chip. It's from Exotic Genetic Mike. Mike from Exotic Genetics, he has a ton of great gear. I love all of his stuff. Anytime we pop seeds from that dude, we find, you know, 1 or 2 winners, and that's like from a pack usually of seeds. So he's just got really solid genetics. And, you know, we follow the trends of the industry of whatever is popular at the time, because things go in waves. But, you know, we went from like OG, obviously, because we're from the Valley, to, you know, more exotics and cookies, and then gelatos and sherbs and those type of things. And now we're getting back into like, I guess the Skittles wave is back again. So it's like all it's kind of cool. I'm cool. I felt like things were going to go back away from color and get more into green, gassy, sweet bud.
Yes.
Which it should be.
I was waxing poetic the other day on Bull Rider here in the San Diego area.
Yeah,
that's really when
Bull Rider.
And then when it comes to branding and making that transition to the Squints branding, can you tell me a little bit about that and then the reaction you have received from fans of the Sandlot?
It's been all love. And to be honest, I didn't think I was really going to ever do that Squints branding, but I did that logo and it turned out really good and people were kind of like tripping on it. So we ended up running some bags and people were really fond of them. So we kind of just went in that direction. To be honest, I didn't ever want to necessarily have a personal.
I get it.
Brand. You know what I mean? I wanted to separate that, but you know, like I say, people ask me if I care if people call me Squints, and I say, you know, like, you know, you don't get to pick your handle sometimes. Life picks it for you. So, you know, if the shoe fits, I guess, or the glasses in this thing, if the glasses fit, you got to wear them. You know,
roll with it, man.
People want to associate with, then I think it's a positive, fun thing. I love that character and what he represents, and I think that it translates. And
And
I'm
it
here
makes
for
people
it.
happy, man. It's
That's
like
it.
music.
Yeah.
It's like music
Yeah.
that you connect with from your childhood. It's a character you connect with from your childhood. It makes you feel happy, and it's connected to a lifestyle that you friggin' love and you're passionate about.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I just think that it kind of, you know, fell in place, and the business side of things caught up with the cultivation side of things. And I'm glad it works and people like it. And I'm here to, you know, let them know that anything in a Squints bag is definitely going to be something that was, you know, handpicked by us to go out. And and I hope that everybody likes it as much as, you know, as much as we think they will.
Dope. And that's the word I'm hearing. And I appreciate your time, and certainly encourage people to pick up everything that you're putting out there, and they know where to find it via the March and Ash outlet.